sit here today. Hey, everybody.
My goodness, we're actually next to each other for once.
Welcome to my home. I'm Dr. Mark Hatala, and these are my students. And we're going to switch things up a little bit today. We usually have assigned seats where we draw randomly. And our topic for today is, what does it mean to be an American? And it's because I teach a class called You at 21, where people talk about who they are. And that's one of the questions that we discuss. I think it is very interesting and very pertinent to our times. Maybe we could start out with everyone introducing themselves.
I'm Annie. I'm Ashley.
I'm Maddy.
I'm Zach.
I'm Will.
Outstanding. So I will just open it up to what does it mean to you folks to be, what does being an American mean to you?
So for me, obviously I'm not going to try and get political at all, but safety. I really think whether that's me being naive or not, I don't know, but I feel very safe. I always feel like if I needed to call the police, I could get a hold of the police or firefighters. I don't feel like I'm going to be attacked. I don't feel like specifically in like Kirksville, Missouri or St. Louis, I'm going to have a bomb dropped on me. I don't, again, whether this is me being naive or not, I don't feel like my government, whoever the president is, doesn't matter what party, I don't ever feel like the president or just the government in general is out to get me, that I'm going to have, be unfairly either killed or whatever.
That they're going to take all your stuff, which does happen in some countries.
Right, exactly. And it's like, I've always kind of seen it is that, and I know we all as a country, we can be kind of very divided on politics. And I guess the way I've always seen it is there have been presidents I've liked, there have been presidents I haven't liked, but I've never felt like there's ever been a president that I felt like, with how our country is set up, could actually ruin, like I never felt like there's been a president that could, I felt that I could wake up and the country would be gone, that we would all be dead or the world will have ended. I feel safe in America. There are things I don't like, as there is with everybody, there are things, we would all like to see changed, but I can at least, I think, one of the most important things is to feel safe, and sure. I do feel safe in America, to the point where I don't ever necessarily want to, for the most part, travel to other countries. Now, I live in other countries, I guess I should say. I feel very safe here. I don't know that I would necessarily feel anywhere else.
So safety, what are some other things?
See, I have a different view on what it means to be an American because some of my family members are not Americans or they are Americans because of the process they went through, but not because they were born in the United States. And I feel like safety isn't necessarily given to us or like a right of ours, because I do have family members that have been deported and family members that have like gone through stuff or experienced prejudices or discrimination or anything like that, which thankfully I'm very ethnically ambiguous, so I haven't necessarily experienced that, but I have seen the firsthand experience that my family members have had to deal with. And so for me, I think what it means to be an American is kind of our freedom of speech, to be like, point out, hey, I'm not okay with that, and to be able to stand up and be like, have that privilege of being like, this isn't something I'm okay with, and being able to stand up and say something about it and do something about it, and to have that voice. Because in so many countries, people are like killed or silenced or whatever because of their voice or because they choose to protest. And to have that freedom that we have to have a voice and to have an opinion and the right to stand up and say something and do something about it is such a privilege that we have here. So I really think that's something that not a lot of countries have, and for me that is something really special about being an American, and having that privilege to stand up and be like, this is not cool with me, or this is cool with me, and being able to have a word, have a voice.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? Ashley?
That I feel like clarifies the dissonance that I've been like feeling thinking about this question. I feel like what does it mean to be an American is a very difficult question because being an American is such a diverse thing to say. Like being an American is everything from being, you know, an immigrant who moves to the country and goes through the process to being an American to being somebody who lives, you know, in the middle of nowhere in Missouri to being somebody who lives in like a high population city center on the coast, you know, like there's just so much variety. To say one thing about it is really difficult. But I do think of like the one thing that you can say of like whether or not it's carried out fully every time is that really to be an American is to have a voice and to have a say. And that like a lot of how we structure our government and structure our society is built around that idea of like you may be inhibited in what your ability is and what your capacity is and what like the social constructs will allow you to do, but like the idea is that you're allowed to speak up and you're allowed to make change and you're allowed to take the steps to do and be whatever you want to. And I think that is a really cool concept, like that basically being an American is being whatever you want, you know, because like as Ron Swanson says, like, you know, that is as crazy as, you know, the right to eat fast food and smoke a cigarette a day and die at the age of 40 because that's what you want to do. That's your right as an American, you know. But
and you
like,
have plenty of opportunities to do that.
Exactly. And like I feel like that's one of the reasons why being an American is such like a dissonant idea, is because as good as it can be that you can, you know, be living that white picket fence, like 2.5 kids, perfect life, you know, that you can have that if you really want to strive for it, but also you can have like any other detrimental life that you want as well. And that is kind of like a freeing but also a terrifying concept.
It is.
Yeah, and I can go off of that a little bit is what, you know, how I view being an American a lot is also like that diversity, but in like all aspects that you were talking about and stuff. Like America, you know, has a bunch of different like cultures, people coming from a lot of different places even nowadays. And also like even talking about like opportunities and like landscapes, like that just... And like America's a pretty big country when you think about it, and we have so many different things. Like we have like mountains, we have like near desert like states, and we you know, we have really cold states like Alaska or like Hawaii or anything like that. And like just being an American and like being able to be associated with all those things and having the chance to like experience all of those things and experience all these different cultures and opportunities, I think is a really cool and unique thing.
Yeah, I think diversity is an important part of American identity. We could not care less about the difference between like Scottish and British people, and if you ask them, they will flip out.
I don't think most people would know what a difference is, but
even with the accents, we're like British. Like, no, I'm Scottish.
Well,
you know?
if I tell a brief story about this, I go to, when I travel overseas, I go to Anglican churches because everyone speaks English and they do the ceremony in English. So wherever I am, I can be in Romania and people are speaking English. But then there's like the social afterwards, and I can't tell who they are from their accent, which they do find offensive because they're like, how can you not tell I'm Scottish? And they're like, I don't know, you don't sound different to me. but
It's
go
not
ahead.
American.
Just not American.
Well, there's that. Actually, just to like stave off the whole no true Scotsman thing, to be an American means to be in America. And then the last thing, just I think probably one of the most important parts is I agree with Maddy about the freedom to, without persecution, gather and dissent. And I don't have that much to add to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that point kind of ties back to Will's point earlier as well about safety. I feel like one thing, like we think about the freedom and the diversity of America a lot, but like one thing I feel like we take for granted a lot is the fact that like we're very freaking wealthy, you know, and like we do have a lot of like structures in place that allow us to be safe and have opportunities that a lot of other places don't have. And like I feel like the reason why there's a lot of hesitation to say that that is part of being American is because so many people are inhibited from partaking in those safeties and in those opportunities. Like, I mean, if you take the school system even, like, there's just so much polarization in, like, who receives what kind of benefits. But the fact at the end of the day is that the structures are in place, and, like, the goal is to have a place where everybody has the opportunity to participate fully in, like, a life, and a happy, healthy, wealthy life, you know? And I think that that is part of being an American, is recognizing that, like, by nature of living here, like, we do have a certain degree of privilege that, like, a lot of other places and a lot of third world countries just don't have, you know?
Yeah. I would say, for me, I think that I'm not going to try to argue with Zach. I don't think it is tied to location, because I think that being an American is a state of mind. And that if you're accepting of other cultures and that you believe that everyone has equality before the law and has the same opportunities, then and you don't believe that one religion's better than another or one group of people is better than another, then I think you do have a place in this country. So I think that there's people who have an American outlook all over the world. And if they do have that outlook, I would encourage them to come here and live, because we got Disneyland on both coasts, and you know, the Liberty Bell, and it's a pretty incredible place to live. But any other thoughts on what it means to be an American?
We got baseball.
They have that in Japan too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's more popular here. It's a national pastime.
Outstanding.
We are baseball.
That's right, we are.
I feel
We are all
like
baseball.
football, like American football, is like an American thing.
At this-
they don't
they
have
don't
that,
they don't
they
have
don't
anywhere
have that
else.
like anywhere else, and they didn't steal the name anyway.
You have the right to tackle people.
We'd like to hear
Take your
what.
brain injury.
You have the right to felony assault.
For entertainment, though.
Yeah, when it's
For
entertainment,
millions
it's
of
okay.
dollars a year.
That's right. You're getting paid to do it's okay. It's
So
expected.
leave comments below on what you think it means to be an American, and be sure to like and subscribe. And we thank you for sharing our discussion today. And have a great day. Outstanding. Very good.
You got it that last time. Like and subscribe.
I know. I can never remember what I'm supposed to say.
Also, why